everybody. We are in a different setting today. It's because we're coming to you live
from Louisville,
from
Kentucky.
Louisville, Kentucky. Don't ask me why we're in Louisville, Kentucky. But we're in Louisville, Kentucky. Going to recap and talk about
College football.
college football. Everybody's favorite college football. We're already into week 13, so we're getting down to the nitty-gritty finish line. See who's
Back to
going
the finish line.
see who's going to be in the playoff situation type thing. But before we talk about that, we're going to recap week 12. For all y'all who haven't watched us before, we normally recap 1 through 15. Whatever we predict, we'll predict 1 through 15. Whenever we recap, we just recap them the way that they played during the day. So we'll jump into a little recap of week 12. We had number 5 Alabama at Mississippi State.
That is going to be a murder. It's not as bad as a Tua murder could be.
It was 35-7 when Tua went out.
Why did they even put him in when they were blowing them
I
out?
don't know. Saban said they wanted to practice the 2-minute offense. You're up 35-7. The other defense is not in 2-minute defense mode.
No.
They're like, oh my God, it's 35-7. We're getting slaughtered mode. And Tua got hurt, and now his college career is over.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
Such a great athlete and a great quarterback.
He's actually a really good guy. I don't like Alabama, but it ain't got nothing to do with the players. It's just because it's Alabama. Tua's a great guy. Really solid, great guy. One of the best football players we've had in college in a long time. Fun to watch. It's sad that he's not in there. I would have loved.
I hope that hip injury does not sideline him or restrict his abilities in any way.
I would have loved to have seen him sneak. You know, if Alabama snuck into the playoffs at number 4, what they would have done with him. You know, but we'll never know. We'll never know. It's sad, but Alabama did lay ye old butt kicking on Mississippi State. We had number 9 Penn State at home to Indiana. Just won by 7, 34-27.
Penn State, well, Big Game James has got a big game this week, so let's see what he does there.
Well, let's see what he does. He did beat Indiana.
But Indiana has not been a football school. They are known for basketball.
They're known for basketball, sometimes.
Sometimes.
We had number 11 Florida at Missouri, and man, Missouri is looking pretty bad. 23-6, Florida won at Missouri. Florida's offense has sort of died.
Sort of.
But their defense is still pretty good. Their defense is pretty good.
Yeah, it's ever since I think the Georgia loss deflated them a little bit.
Yeah, I think it did too. Number 14, Wisconsin at Nebraska. Man, Nebraska's not that good, are they?
Why did they hand out a contract extension to Scott Frost? Even though he hasn't really proven to have that much progress in year 2.
I really don't know. I can't answer that.
I think they gave out a 6 or 7 year. I think it was a 6-year extension to him, even though he hasn't really gone north of 6 wins yet.
Well, no, let's hang on right now. He's 4-6 right now. No, he's not doing all that good, is he? So yeah, I really don't know, but yeah, Wisconsin beat them by 37-21, so by 16 in Nebraska.
That shows you how far Nebraska has declined.
Yeah. We had number 15, Michigan, took on Michigan State. Michigan State has fallen into the dumpster.
They've really sunk beneath the bellows of college football.
I don't know what's happened to them. Normally they're pretty strong, but Michigan beat them 44-10. That's a butt whooping.
They need a shakeup
of whooping.
They need a shakeup of sorts.
Yeah.
They used to be such a solid team. And now they're struggling against the Big Ten, which usually they wouldn't.
No, and that was something. Yeah, we had number 2 Ohio State go to Rutgers. I think they were favored by 60 or something.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, number 2 team in the country, best schedule in the nation, right?
I don't know, man. It's a tough schedule, man.
Yeah,
it's a tough schedule, man. But they beat Rutgers by 35, and they actually didn't pull the line.
Why is Rutgers in the Big Ten?
Just a couple more speed bumps for the better teams.
Why is
Maryland and Rutgers should not be in the Big Ten. They are not Power 5 teams. I'm sorry, but they're not. Maybe basketball.
Oh my gosh.
We had Clemson with their really tough schedule take on Wake Forest,
which is not ranked.
which is not that one. I mean, no.
I have to say, the ACC
is the weakest conference this year.
In the Power 5, out of the Power 5 conferences, the ACC only has one ranked team, and that's Clemson, and everybody else is either fighting for a bowl game or just bad.
Mediocre to garbage. Is the ACC this year.
At least you got basketball.
They only won Wake 52-3. I mean, it ain't like they beat them by 50. It's just 49. And here's one of those soft SEC games. We had number 4 Georgia go to number 12 Auburn. Soft candy games they play every week.
Oh boy!
Georgia won 21-14 in a pretty tight game. Really, they were evenly matched.
Georgia had a big lead late, and they let Auburn score a couple touchdowns. And I thought to myself,
"There they go again.
Here we go again." But they managed to hold their ground in the last possession.
Yep, and then we have the upset of the week, which I did not think would happen. Minnesota
taking
goes
an L
to Iowa just to pick up an L. I mean, imagine going from Minnesota to Iowa just to get an L. And it was your first L of the year, so it was a big L. Big giant L. So, yeah. 19 to 23.
And we happened to be in the city of the U of L. Which means Minnesota just got an L from the U of L.
Yes, it was pretty bad. We had number 1 LSU, and I'm going to repeat that as many times as I can. Number one LSU.
Number 1
went to Ole Miss, beat them 58-37.
The defense, well, people have been making a bit of a fuss of how the defense has performed.
I'm not going to fuss about the defense too much because if your offense puts up 50 points,
it's so
then
good.
Your defense is going to be on the field and the other team is going to be trying to score. They're going to be taking risks, throwing deep, doing stuff you've never seen before just to try to keep up with LSU scoring. And sometimes that's hard to defend against.
Alabama with Tua Tagovailoa healthy
had no choice. They couldn't keep up with them. With Alabama's defense, Alabama's team, they couldn't keep up with them.
When that happens, that's what they're legit when they can outscore and outpace Tua.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow is legit, and we've seen it all year long.
Mm-hmm.
And he's only 313 yards away from a 4,000-yard passing season
for a LSU Tiger. What the crap? How many LSU? We're talking. The second coming of Jamarcus Russell, ain't? Oh, if you don't know who he is, look him up.
Please don't remind the Raiders about him.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Raiders fan. We had number 10, Oklahoma, take out another undefeated. Minnesota undefeated. Baylor undefeated.
This was a painful loss.
It was a painful loss.
Baylor blew a 25-point lead. Yep. Wait a minute. Can we think of another game where one other team blew a 25-point lead against another?
I don't know. Was this one 28-3 too? I'm not going to mention team names or anything. Just 28-3.
Okay.
But number 10 Oklahoma took out number 13 Baylor.
Oh, can we have a moment just to laugh at Baylor for maybe just 1 second?
That is pretty funny. How can you lose a 25-point lead at home? I mean, it is Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is a cheat code, but you can't just blow a 25-point lead like that.
No. Teams that haven't won much like Baylor, they get up big and they put it in neutral. We're going to coast to the finish line here. And then all of a sudden, you get run over by the other team that's still trying. That comes from a lack of experience of winning.
Yes.
If you're ahead by 25, the only thing you try to do is to win by 50. Don't stop at 25. You put the gas on harder.
Do you know what the lesson here is today? You live long enough to be LSU, or you can live short enough to be Baylor.
Yeah.
Lesson is always push a lead.
Always push a lead. We had UCLA go to number 7 Utah, 49-3. Utah won. Utah, again, is the strongest team I know nothing about.
Outside of Oregon in the Pac-12. The Pac-12 has surprised.
2 top 10 teams, yeah.
This surprised me this year with 2 productive teams that could make the playoff.
Yeah, number 7, Utah, and we got number 6, Oregon, is our last one of the week.
But on UCLA, is there a return policy for Chip Kelly?
Those chips are stale. You need to get a new bag of chips because those chips are horrible. Those are like those salt, vinegar, and dirt chips or something, man. They're bad.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then lastly, number 6 Oregon played Arizona. Number 6 Oregon won 34-6. Oregon is again one of the better teams that you don't know a lot about because they play in the West Coast. Oregon's got
But Mr. Justin Herbert,
the quarterback for Oregon is
pretty good.
Pretty good. He's check out his stats and check out some highlights of him. He's a pretty good quarterback.
We'll take a water break.
Sorry, get a little thirsty there. We'll jump on into our predicts for Week 13. We'll start off with number 1.
Number 1. In case ESPN hasn't heard about it yet. Number 1.
In case you're not for sure, number 1 LSU has Arkansas coming to town. Arkansas is a dumpster fire.
They just fired
Honestly,
their coach.
A dumpster fire looks at them and goes, man, that looks bad. Arkansas is bad. They're 2-8, and they're lucky to have the 2.
They have yet to win an SEC game. They haven't won an SEC game in 2 years.
No, and they're going into LSU with the biggest point spread in the history of SEC versus SEC.
That is going to be a massacre.
42.5 point spread. You don't see that in the SEC because the SEC is pretty balanced. Even our bad teams aren't horrible.
There's a new dimension of bad there.
Arkansas is horrible.
Can we just say...
Yeah.
Horrible.
Vanderbilt's looking over for him going, oh, man, I feel bad for them.
They just fired their head coach. They were so bad.
They were horrible.
They came off a loss to Western Kentucky last week.
Honestly, 42.5 might be too big of a spread for me just because after Tua getting hurt last week, it wouldn't surprise me if they don't get up by 30 at halftime and they pull Burrow out. I would. I mean...
You don't want another incident like that happening.
No. Not when you're this close to the national championship.
You need everybody healthy.
I would pull him out at halftime or before. If you're up 35, yeah. So 42.5 might be too much, but Arkansas sucks. It could be.
Oh, gosh.
It could be.
We have yet to really touch about how bad Arkansas has been this season because we've been paying attention to all these other teams.
Yeah,
but, they are awful.
They are horrible, yeah. We got number 2, Ohio State. Number 2, Ohio State. Going to take on Penn State. They've actually got a tough game this week. So, I think it's the only one they've had the entire year.
Here's the opportunity for Big Game James.
Big Game James Franklin can prove he deserves to be in the talk for top coaches. All he has to do is go to Ohio State and win. He's got the number 8 team in the country. Number 8, Penn State, go to number 2, Ohio State. It's a top 10 matchup.
So, who are we
going to happen? James Franklin ain't going to go to Ohio State and win.
Isn't that impossible?
Yeah.
Isn't that supposed to be, James Franklin
It's a top 10 matchup. It should be anybody's game on a top 10 matchup.
But Big Game
Penn State
James
should not be in the top 10.
Big Game James shows us that if you can try hard enough, that you can accomplish anything, except for beating Ohio State.
Except for, going to the playoffs. Except for winning the Big Ten. Yeah. But anyways, Ohio State should win that one by quite a bit there. Number 3 is on a bye. We're having some late season buys.
Clemson is sitting in a lawn chair somewhere drinking a soda.
Yeah, I'm going... We don't really have to play anybody worth a flip into the playoff. So
why can't they schedule anybody? Why can't we have Clemson, Alabama, the first game of the year?
Something.
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting. But we got no Clemson this week. So we'll jump right on down to the Georgia Bulldogs, taking on Texas A&M.
Interesting matchup.
I think Georgia wins it by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think Texas A&M's
Georgia's trying to make that push to get into the playoffs, even though they lost to South Carolina. It's hard to say that and not laugh. But Georgia lost to South Carolina.
The same South Carolina team that lost to Appalachian State.
That one. They lost to that South Carolina, just to make sure you understand. Georgia lost to that. South Carolina. But they're trying to make that push to get into the playoffs. So they're going to try to beat. They're pretty serious right now. They'll beat Texas A&M by 14.
Texas A&M's a good year away. Before we see really much of their potential.
Yeah, and then we got Alabama with their tough schedule taking on Western Carolina. Ooh. They're favored by.
Really? Is that the November matchup you schedule?
They're only favored by 56.5.
Oh yeah, that's very low for Alabama standards.
Without Tua. How are you favored by 56.5 points without Tua?
I have no clue.
Well, it's because you're Western Carolina and you're 3-8. That's not why. That's pretty bad.
Come on, you gotta schedule someone better than that in November. Come on.
I don't know. We got number 6, Oregon. Oregon has jumped, leapfrogged all the way up to number 6. They are taking on AZ State.
Technically, you could say like Oregon flew instead of kind of like leaped.
Yeah.
Because they're Ducks.
They flew right over the top. They're up to number 6. And Oregon, I think, can sneak into the 4th playoff spot. You better be careful and look out for them. I think they do beat AZ State by 14-plus points. We got number 7, Utah going to AZ, Arizona. Arizona's pretty bad this year. They're 4-6.
So, Arizona's going to get knocked out of a bowl berth.
Yeah, they'll be 4-7 after this weekend. Arizona will be throwing out everything they possibly can because they want to get a bowl.
Throw every monkey in the wrench.
They'll throw everything they can out there, but Utah will win the game. Yeah. We got number 8, Ocho. We already talked about number 8. That was Penn State.
Big game, James.
Big game, James. Going to Ohio State. And then we got number 9, Oklahoma's taking on TCU. TCU's having a wishy-washy. They're 5-5 too. Oklahoma will beat them. It may be 48-47 because Oklahoma might have the worst defense
of any ranked team.
I think God, their defense is horrible.
I saw them against Iowa State a couple weeks ago, and they just gave up a ton of big plays.
They are
That would be a big weakness if Oklahoma can squeeze in.
I don't think Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's defense is too weak to get them into the top 4. I think other than 2 SEC teams, Oregon could be the one to sneak in. So watch out for that. Other than that, it could be LSU and Alabama.
Without
Tua.
And Alabama's not been used to playing without Tua.
If Georgia beats LSU, then you're going to have LSU and Georgia in because they're not going to. You can't keep LSU out.
After all those big wins,
yeah,
I mean, you can't keep them out.
I don't think Georgia beats LSU, but I mean, just figuratively speaking.
You kind of imagine if Georgia gets up to a big lead, there is a possibility.
If Georgia gets up to a big lead, they're going to lose. So that's why I think Georgia's not going to win. Either LSU blows them out or Georgia gets a win and then blows it. And then Georgia kicks a field goal and win. All right, we got number 10, Minnesota. Minnesota dropped to 10. Number 10, Minnesota going to Northwestern. Northwestern is horrible, 2-8.
Jeez, what happened to them?
I don't know. They looked down at their shirts and realized they were Northwestern. They suck. Number 11 is on. Excuse me, a bye. We got 2 byes this week.
And that's Florida.
That would be Florida.
Laying in the creek.
Getting ready for that big interstate matchup with Florida State.
Who decided to have Willie Taggart just jump the ship.
Yeah, they fired I ain't going to get into that. Why'd you hire him? We had number 12, Wisconsin is taking on Purdue. Wisconsin will beat the living crap out of Purdue. Purdue's not really very good this year.
They've taken
they're going to be out of bowl contention too. They're 4-6. Wisconsin's about to make them 4-7. Number 13. Who is number 13? Oh yeah, that was Michigan. Michigan going to Indiana. Indiana's not bad. They're 7-3.
Michigan ain't gonna get in the. They ain't gonna get in the playoff with 2 losses there.
No.
With all the 1-loss teams trying to squeeze their way in.
No.
To the playoff.
Michigan's not going to make it in.
Even if they win against Indiana or not.
No, they're just not going to make it in. I think Michigan's playing for like the Rose Bowl or whatever one you can get out of now. They will beat Indiana though. Texas is at Baylor. That's an interesting game.
Do you think Baylor may come a little motivated after blowing that lead?
They should. They're only favored by 5.5 at home. I will take Baylor, though. I think I'll take Baylor. I think I'll take Baylor minus 5.5. And then last but not least, we have number 15 is Auburn. Auburn has jumped back up into the top 15.
The mystery box.
Yeah, they are playing Samford. Not Stanford.
Sam
Ford. Sam Ford.
What's with these teams and trying to schedule these kind of late November games? Aren't these kind of games saved for September?
Both those teams are from Alabama. Nothing like a marshmallow in November. Oh, yeah, they're favored by 48.5 points.
Auburn will roll.
They will roll on that one. Anyway, that is the top 15 recap and the top 15 predictions for week 13. We are done.
Send us a like. Hit the subscribe button.
Hit the subscribe button. Ask us why we're in Louisville, and we'll tell you something. Say, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the groovy baby button.
Somewhere on my face.
Share us with your friends out there somewhere. Other than that, we're done.
See you next week.